radio mysteries on the air. The Jagged Rock Mystery, again starring Phyl Coe, the famous girl detective. Have you entered the Phyl Coe Radio Mystery Contest? The fascinating $50,000 cash prize contest brought to you every week at this time over this station by your Phyl Coe radio tube dealer. More than 240 radio stations in every state in the Union are broadcasting these transcribed mystery programs. You want to enter the contest. You want to win a big weekly cash prize, perhaps even a gigantic grand prize. Get your Phyl Coe Radio Mystery Book number 3 with official entry blanks free from your Phyl Coe radio tube dealer. Maybe you haven't been able to get your book and blanks from your dealer. His supply may be exhausted. If so, drop a postcard to Phyl Coe, care of this station, giving your dealer's name and address, and yours will be sent you free. And while you are at your dealer's, ask him, too, for Phyl Coe Radio Mystery Book number 4. It is now ready. Winners of a previous week's cash prizes will be announced at the close of this program. What if you should hear your name? Here's Phyl Coe, the girl detective. She's going to solve the Jagged Rock mystery. Listen. Today, Phyl Coe and Tom Taylor are off on a skiing trip just above the Canadian border. They are being driven in a sleigh from border town to a small inn about 10 miles to the north. As the scene opens, they have already driven about a mile toward their destination.
Hey, look up there, Phil. You wanted to see a ski jump. There's a beauty.
Oh.
Say, driver, does anyone ever dare make that jump?
Only the best ski jumpers, monsieur. That is called Jagged Rock jump.
Look, Tom. There's someone up there now coming down the hillside.
That must be Monsieur Stevenson. He is guest at the inn where you are going.
You mean to say he's going to jump right off the edge of Jagged Rock?
Now he must do it. He's far too late to change the mind.
There he goes.
Whoa, right over the road.
Oh, that was the most beautiful ski jump I've ever seen.
I was right. It was Monsieur Stevenson. I know him by that red knapsack. Only one other can ski like this. He is Hans, the professional ski teacher at the inn. He's not been so well lately.
Say, driver, you suppose Stevenson made that jump just for fun?
No, I think maybe he's going down to border town for something. The town is right below us, you see. It is all downhill, so he will perhaps come back by sleigh or automobile.
Does Mr. Stevenson often make that jump?
No, mademoiselle. But he make it 2 or 3 times before. Last year in our silver ski contest, he make it as the winning jump.
Well, Stevenson is as good as any professional I've ever seen.
But he is not professional, monsieur. Last year he skied in the Winter Olympics at Garmisch.
It will take Phil and Tom a few minutes to reach the inn. That gives me a chance to remind you that you may enter this contest any time, any week. Whenever you enter, you have an equal opportunity to win a cash weekly prize and be eligible to compete for the big grand prizes. Another thing, always use Phyl Coe tubes in your set. Buy Phyl Coe tubes if you really want the best radio reception at a cost no higher than you would pay for just ordinary tubes. Here Phil and Tom are at the inn. I wonder what that sound of a girl sobbing means.
Ah, bonjour. Hey, Pierre, the proprietor. You are Miss Coe and Mr. Taylor, n'est-ce pas?
Yes, Pierre. Have you the rooms we wired for?
Oui, monsieur.
Yeah. Why is this pretty little girl crying?
It is my daughter, Marie. Mademoiselle, monsieur. We have had a very sad thing happen here this morning. We have had a death. It was poor Hans, the one who gives instruction in skiing.
Hans? Oh, yes. Our sleigh driver said Hans hadn't been well lately.
Ah, poor Marie, she is upset. It was Marie who discovered the body. When Hans did not appear for breakfast, Marie went up to fetch him and came screaming out here, saying that Hans was dead in his bed with a streak of blood on the sheet beside him.
What? Blood?
It was not blood, Miss Coe. Just the red scarf that Marie had knit for our friend, Mr. Stevenson. A red scarf to match his red knapsack.
Was the doctor called in?
Oui. He said the death was due to an overdose of morphine. He found the hypodermic needle in his hand. Ah, you are a silly, lovesick girl, Marie. You knit scarves for Mr. Stevenson and moon about him. And now you are broken-hearted about Hans.
Where's the body, Pierre?
It has been taken to the undertaker.
Pierre, I'm a detective, and I'd be very glad to be of assistance. I'd like to ask a few questions of the people at the inn. May I have a room near the one that Hans had?
But of course.
I should like to know where he got the morphine.
Ah, I had not thought of that.
Then, will you show us to a room, please?
Yes. Follow me, please. Come, Marie. Perhaps you can be of some help if you only stop crying. Right down this hall, please. Here, this middle room was Hans. The one beyond is Dr. Jasper. But we go for a few minutes here in Mr. Stevenson's room. He is not in at present. Enter, please.
Thank you.
Pierre, who is this Dr. Jasper?
He is a permanent guest, winter and summer. He has what you call a fellowship from some university down in the States.
Oh.
He is making a study of small northern animals. Right now, he has my barn full of muskrat. Always he's experimenting with them. Well, he's a cranky old fellow, but he pay promptly.
Have you any other guest at present besides Mr. Stevenson?
Only Miss O'Neill, Mr. Stevenson's fiancée. This is the first time he has had her here.
Oh, it is so terrible.
Yeah, you hear that? Once Marie thought Mr. Stevenson was making eyes at her.
I'm not crying for Monsieur Stevenson. I'm crying for poor Hans. I loved him, Papa.
Mon Dieu, you all mix up in your silly heart.
Pierre, is Miss O'Neill in the hotel at present?
Oui.
Would you mind asking her to come here?
I shall get her immediately, mademoiselle.
Oh, don't go, Marie. I'd like to talk to you.
Oui, mademoiselle.
Now, Marie, tell me, dear, were you very much in love with Hans?
Oh, yes, oui.
Then why are you upset about Mr. Stevenson being here with his fiancée?
I do not know. He treated me very nice. Sometimes he would bring me presents. But I really loved Hans. That is why Hans and we had last night such a terrible fight.
Marie, what caused this fight?
Hans, he was flirting with Mademoiselle O'Neill last night at supper. He thought she was beautiful and, how you say, sophisticated. Hans, he met Miss O'Neill when they were all in Garmisch last year. I was so angry with Hans last night. Oh, but now I'm so sorry.
You'll come in, please. You may go, Marie.
Miss Coe, I'm Miss O'Neill.
Miss O'Neill, how long had you known Hans?
We met in Garmisch last year, but I hadn't seen him since last night. I was astounded at the change in him. According to the doctor, Hans had become a morphine addict.
Miss O'Neill, I understand Hans thought you very attractive.
Yes, Miss Coe, that's true, but then all men seem to find me attractive.
Oh.
Don't look at me, Phil. I haven't said a word.
As a matter of fact, Marie and Hans had quite a spat about me last night.
Oh? How did you know that?
I came here to Mr. Stevenson's room for a book. Arthur, Mr. Stevenson, was out skiing, so I stayed here quite a while. These walls are very thin, and Hans' room was right next door, so I couldn't help overhearing the argument.
I see.
As I went out into the hall, I saw Marie come out of Hans' room in tears and go into Dr. Jasper's room.
Do you ski, Miss O'Neill?
No, not at all. Why Arthur ever brought me here, I don't know. I've been thoroughly bored. Arthur left early this morning, saying he wouldn't be back for lunch. Marie packed him the lunch, but he left it with me. Said he never stops to eat while on the ski trails.
Miss Coe?
Yes?
I'm Dr. Jasper. Used to know your father. You can't possibly be as good a detective as he was.
Oh, I admit that, Dr. Jasper.
Well, Miss Coe, if you want me, I'll be in my room.
Well, thank you, Miss O'Neill. Dr. Jasper, I understood that Hans took an overdose of morphine.
Sound just like your father. Always looking for trouble where there isn't any. Who's this young man, your husband?
No.
Thank you, Dr. Jasper, but no such luck. I'm just a friend of Phil's. My name is Taylor.
Dr. Jasper, did Marie come to your room last night?
Yes. Poor girl was crying. She had a quarrel with Hans about O'Neill. Hans had several quarrels last night. Later on, I heard Stevenson in there. Couldn't understand what they said, but there was a lot of loud talk.
Where do you suppose Hans got hold of that morphine?
I don't know. How should I?
Doctor, in your work with animals, have you any occasion to use the drug?
Yes. The government allots me a small quantity monthly. Received my allowance a few days ago.
Hey, look, there's a car arriving. I can see it from the window.
That's the mail from Bordertown. There's Arthur Stevenson getting out. I wonder what brought him in from his precious skiing.
Seems to be in a great hurry.
Dr. Jasper, I'm interested in the morphine you use. Would you show it to me?
Well, I suppose so. I keep it in my room. Come along and I'll show you the morphine. You're more curious than your father ever was.
Well, what's going on in here? This is my room.
Now, take it easy, Stevenson. This is Miss Phyl Coe and her friend, Mr. Taylor. She's attempting to discover the source of Hans' morphine.
Is that such a deep mystery, Dr. Jasper? I'm told you use quite a bit of it on your animals.
Stevenson, you're an ill-mannered boor. I shall be in my room.
Well, Miss Coe, since you're using my room as a police station, I suppose I shall have to submit. What's next?
Mr. Stevenson, you returned unexpectedly from your skiing, didn't you?
Yes. I decided that my fiancée, Miss O'Neill, might be pining for my presence. So I begged a ride back here in a sleigh.
Where are the best ski trails around here, Mr. Stevenson?
To the north of here. They're the ones I always use. Never go south at all.
I've heard a good deal about the Jagged Rock jump. Where's that?
Jagged Rock? Oh, don't mention that jump, please. The very thought of that place makes me dizzy.
Mr. Taylor and I expect to do a lot of skiing while we're here. What does one do for food while he's out on the trails?
Well, I always carry a spot of lunch along here in this trusty red knapsack. I was glad I had it today, too. I was famished.
Well, Mr. Stevenson, to return to the business at hand, where were you last evening?
Well, I returned here to my room after dinner and didn't leave it again. I was waxing my skis.
I see. Well, Tom, I'd like a little skiing myself this afternoon. Shall we go?
Anytime you're ready, Phil.
Oh, how silly of me.
Well, what do you mean?
You know, I believe I forgot to bring a scarf with me. Tom, I know you never bother about a scarf, but Mr. Stevenson.
Yeah?
I wonder if I could borrow one of yours until I get to town and buy one.
Why, why, I never wear a scarf myself. I don't even own one.
Well, perhaps Marie has one I can borrow.
Miss Coe.
Yes, Dr. Jasper?
My morphine supply is gone. Someone has stolen it.
Stolen, Dr. Jasper? Don't you think purchased might be a more likely word?
Now, listen here, Stevenson. You can't...
Please, gentlemen, please. Obviously, the morphine was stolen by Hans. He was an addict, and doubtless he was desperate. His regular source of supply must have been cut off suddenly.
Miss Coe?
Yes?
I'm Constable Riley of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. At your service.
Oh, yes, Constable Riley. I was expecting you.
Hey, Phil, what is this?
I haven't told you, Tom. But you see, the government sent me up here to investigate. There's recently been a great deal of dope smuggled across the border.
I've been instructed to work with you, Miss Coe.
Thank you, Constable Riley. But I'm happy to say we already have our man.
Really, miss? Where is he?
Right here. Mr. Arthur Stevenson.
What? Why, that's ridiculous.
Get away from that window, Stevenson.
Oh.
Now, sit down on this chair.
You've been very clever, Mr. Stevenson, up to a certain point. You've been skiing your morphine shipments across the border in the wilder regions, between custom stations. Apparently, you've been supplying Hans with morphine for his personal use. Last night, you and Hans had a quarrel, during which he threatened to disclose your smuggling activities to the police.
That's very clever. Go on.
Before you left his room, you managed to see to it that his hypodermic needle contained a larger injection than usual, a dose strong enough to kill him. It's all very simple. Well, Constable Riley, the prisoner belongs to you.
Thank you, Miss Coe. Here's a nice new pair of bracelets for you, Stevenson. Well, this is a fine bit of business. I'm sent out to get a smuggler, and I bring back a murderer. Headquarters will think it's Christmas.
Send your solution to the Jagged Rock mystery written on the official entry blank to the address indicated in Phyl Coe Radio Mystery Book Number 3. Remember, you can get Mystery Book Number 3 from your Phyl Coe Radio Tube dealer. Perhaps you haven't been able to get your book and blanks from your dealer. His supply may be exhausted. If so, drop a postcard to Phyl Coe, care of this station, giving your dealer's name and address, and yours will be sent you free. Ask for Mystery Book Number 4, too. It is now ready for you. Another thrilling Phyl Coe mystery will be broadcast next week at this time over this station. Another opportunity for cash rewards in this great $50,000 cash prize contest. Here Phyl Coe, the girl detective, tracked down another criminal. Strange things in strange places will happen. Be sure that you're on hand.